This is the 8-year-old Kangxi, also do not love to learn more than 4 o'clock in the morning, was carried by a few eunuchs to class, suddenly a pea attack too. Supervisor hastily took off a copper pot, happy top of the head, to accept the small Xuan night of the early morning baptism, while enjoying the warmth of the imprecise blow, while licking his mouth compliments.
The three are really alive and well, the East River flow,
After 10 days of continuous classes, Xuan Ye was already very tired, and late for class was never allowed.
Xuan Ye, you missed the divine service by half an hour today. Kneel down and accept the punishment.
Kneel down to be punished, but not the third brother, Xuan Knight, but the teacher, Wei Chengmo's own son, Wei Dongting. Xuan Knight is the son of the emperor. How can be punished? It so drops to play for Wei Dongting was his own father. Wei Chengmo, a lesson beaten, is teary-eyed look at their own play. Half punished, originally happy to watch the show, Xuan Knight gradually pity hit.
Master never hit, just punished.
Is the unbridled emotional venting penalty is a prior agreement. Wei Dongting and Xuan Ye, similar age relationship, intimate only to beat Wei Dongting's body to impress the little Xuan Ye heart.
How will not love their
Wei
sons,
Cheng.
however the emperor teacher, this job is difficult. Do not beat him, how to educate you people in the temple.
Only teachers and students have no father and grandfather.
The eunuch came to the school to announce the decree.
When 3/4 of the emperor in the Mandarin Hall pro-show all the Argo studies called the Argo's master with the go without delay.
Wenhua Hall, on the 8 little brothers sitting upright out of the examiner, Shunzi Emperor seems to believe more beside the skeletal amazement of the walking monks and monks.
I ask you to secretly read the bones and weather of the princes, to see who has the most wisdom and fortune.
The monk pretended not to understand Shunzi, 2 eyes empty to say the bitterness of his heart.
Over the years, I hold a fascination for the world outside the door and for the daily dynastic services, but feel exhausted. I want to pre-select a prince crown. Prince thought one day the national line more than interrupted said,
The monk listened to this word, although the heart happy mouth, but dare not rashly promise the emperor, I am just a monk to choose the crown prince this, and other important dynastic affairs, I cannot dare to, when Shunzi certainly understand the monk's fears.
wearing the I just let you see a look.
Look at who is smart, look at who has a hard life, look at who has the Buddha's edge. Only to mention, the views do not have to carry the pot. See the emperor Rao. Lay monks also have no worries. Good line. Monk received the decree. Then the main examination Shunzi began to address.
Huang Ago is the stars of the sky and the dragon veins on the ground. Ordinary people do not read well, only bad for him. A Huang Ago does not read well on a bad side of the world. How?
Shunzi admonished his sons that this song, the world depends on the public horse riding and shooting, but to rule the world depends on the literary and scientific examination. We Manchu fighting is fierce, but cannot extinguish the Han Chinese 1,000 years of writing, cannot extinguish the Han Chinese poetry, and Song Sage's words, the heart of the son of the world.
Do it to learn our Manchu people to learn from the Han people. I hope you not only in reading and writing than the Han people strong in the bow, and horse riding and shooting than the Han people strong.
Said Shunzi looked back at the 8 Argos Han.
You are all Han Chinese, am I right?
7 of them bowed their heads into the matter. Only Wei Chengmu head held high. Shunzi glanced at Wei Chengmu Yo-ho. There is a tough fight that I will knock you then directly named Xuan Ye.
Have something to say?
This is also one of the most important exams in Kangxi's life, so that he stood out from the crowd of brothers to sit on the dragon chair. But the exam did not start well.
My son.
You're just a child now, not a minister yet.
Huaya has no understanding of the words of the royal ama.
Asking questions is the highest form of learning, and the questions Kangxi asks point directly to the key logic in Shunzi's words.
In accordance with the meaning of Huang Ama, we Manchu, because the Han people cannot extinguish the poetry, song, and sages' words to learn from them, if they can extinguish it, then do not want to learn from the Han people.
This question is actually difficult to answer, can be extinguished, but also to learn is the same as admitting that the Han people's governance policy is good. That why not more reuse of Han courtiers, which involves the problem is more to go, can be extinguished. Not to learn that you really have seriously tried this, really have that written prison, can really not be less to answer. The question is not to answer. Shunzi asked Xuan Ye, how do you see small Xuan Ye is not ambiguous?
We learn poetry and sages' words, not because it cannot be extinguished to learn, but because it is also the way of heaven.
So Yuhan's policy of governance is also the way of heaven. Shunzi glared at Wei Cheng Demon.
This is who taught you the micro-minister taught by micro.
Good brainwashed, good Shunzi immediately unhappy, punished Xuan Ye standing for the exam, punished Wei Cheng Demon 6 months' salary.
I accept the punishment, but I don't know what the crime is. I hope your majesty will tell me.
Shunzi did not expect Wei Chengmu to dare to confront himself.
You two teachers can really hard. I punish you, also ask a good why. I listen to the matter after that. Tell you why, Xuan Knight. If you learn nothing, I will punish you for misleading the penalty.
However, Xuan Ye did not give him the opportunity to Big Monk did not give him the opportunity.
Especially the third brother, Xuan Knight, like the moon note western sky.
A burst of comic ass pat Shunzi in a swell seems my son is a good seedling of learning. Then stride to Xuan Ye in front of a tear handcuffs volume.
Xuan Ye, recite the poem on the scroll. Not a single word wrong.
Xuan Ye, also not for nothing to start reciting the poem, said, specifically picked everyone said,
Confucius said 3 people must have my poetry, so disciples do not have to step, as poetry do not have to leisure in the disciples. When Tao has a sequence of book profession, has a specialization such as this is.
Shunzi a happy reward. Way into the Devil also ordered Xuan Ye stop vow to cast the name Shun.
I want the baby to sleep asleep. How long do not shout at me?
Cure wiped the sweat on Xuan Ye's forehead.
You're tired. Come rest on my dragon chair. It is.
Xuan Ye so sleep the throne even if it is stable but almost lost his life. This is Kangxi's favorite sister Sumaraju. Her hand saved Kangxi's life.
Smallpox, Granny. The master has smallpox.
Xiao Dong is not shocked how to catch a bad disease like smallpox girl cannot say ah.
The girl does not dare to talk nonsense, Tate.
But why so sure it is? Because their village is the smallpox onset of death, most of the symptoms of the Xuan Knight, and his deceased brother, exactly the same body full of face full of pox. Xiao Zhuang is very confused, Xuan Knight. How to get smallpox it? He immediately looked next to Dong Erfei, pulled open his collar. Hey, quite white court lady to see conceal the truth to tell Xiao Zhuang.
The Emperor does not allow to talk about Xiao Dong.
No choice but to rush.
Please order all the brothers and grunts in the palace to prepare the quilt before sunset, and quickly evacuate the palace.
Shunzi heard the warning number to rush to Shun.
Xuan Ye's illness.
Shunzi's eyes glazed over the morning, listening to the test is still good a days.
Smallpox is not allowed to talk about the palace where such injustice.
Flowers at this time is not a small disease, so infected will cause a sharp decline in the population. Mortality rate is up to 70% or 80%, and the treatment of smallpox during the Shunzi period is basically to see the disease. So he let the palace maid has been concealed condition Xiao Zhuang naturally understand.
Then what is your Princess Yi's disease?
The doctor said it was a serious wind disease that was difficult to be cured for a while.
Then you say why Xuan Knight and he is sick exactly the same, is not he infected? Shunzi is worthy of the Red Wolf reincarnation. Special favor will be pampered. Little wife is worried about how to give Erfei whitewash next to the child Fei sent on the pig palace.
The Emperor is this girl. This girl just recruited into the palace. Her brother had this disease, died without treatment. So the doctor recognized this disease as smallpox.
Shunzi eyes rolled, glanced at the small Su. Mother opened his mouth and began to nonsense. Su Mother was so dragged out Xiao Zhuang in order to protect the face of his son. At this time it did not squeak, can shake off the pot of Shunzi regardless of the mother heartache, regardless of child sickness.
Where's Concubine?
Ding ding
How
run
is
to
she?
see his wife
Concubine,
Ifei.
what's wrong with you? Call the doctor.
Xiao Zhuang na cold aghast. Look at Shunzi, and doctors only around the Dong Erfei's sickbed turned their side, but no one cared about child Fei
You're right. Her favorite is not my mother, not your Xuan Ye, and not you. Her lifeblood is the yellow flower half old. Godfather remarried the evil concubine.
Xiao Zhuang ordered people to carry Xuan Ye to her own bedchamber, to personally take care of her, and little Suma is currently being brought to the palace grove by the eunuch Wu Liangfu, ready to bury alive.
A cloth bag to her set to get some lime put on her head to pour faster, more water a little later to bury her alive.
If Su Mother was buried alive, that Kangxi also cooled at this time small Wei Dongting to save the scene. This we will say next issue. Like friends, please help attention forward. I am here first to say thanks.